Okay.
Now, well, the mic-
Table talk.
I'm gonna
Table talk.
So let's scoot you a little bit.
All right.
I have a question, will the mic pick up if I have it on my screen?
It's not.
Yeah, it's like hook up to your chain or to your, right to your under part of your turtleneck.
It won't be as good.
So many times when we're public speaking, and I'm sure you run into this, like you watched all your other friends and acquaintances at your workshop, we're going to lose our place. It's just guaranteed.
It really is. I know, I've done it so many times. It's
Yeah.
guaranteed.
And that's why these little micro stories, nobody cares what they are, because the micro story will have its importance for whatever reason. And it's like, you know, a millimeter honestly is only about as thick as a piece of paper. You know, that's how much a millimeter is. And that's how much it threw Tom's life into flux, literally. So those little stories of, I'm in flux, people eat them up like a fine prime rib or a wonderful chicken sandwich. You know,
I just had tuna at Blacksmith's myself before coming here.
so it's like those little stories of my life went into flux are so crucial to just have in your hip pocket, so that when you do lose your place, you
Oh,
can-
so that's why you did that story, because you lost your place.
Mhm.
Oh,
Completely.
oh, you completely lost it, so you just made up a whole new story.
I knew where I was going to go, but the story gave me time to catch up with myself.
Yeah, because
See, I had no problem. And that was probably 10 minutes into the talk.
Right.
But that allowed me to catch up and actually take a glance. See, I have an outline when I do group workshops and stuff. You know, I do have an outline, you know, because I jump around. But it keeps me honest to myself, because sometimes I have an exercise that goes 10 minutes too long because they really like it, so I excise one. Does that make sense? So it just gave me time to catch up. Caught right back up.
and it makes us look so much better, because I don't know if you ever, you know, radios aren't as common anymore as they used to be when we were growing up, but it's like 30 seconds of dead air on a radio station is literally a death knell. 30 seconds of silence on a radio. If you have 1,000 customers on that radio at that time, when the silence started, you're only going to have one, possibly, at the end of a 30-second silence. Same thing for public speaking. The fluidity of our talks, we can get away with a few seconds of silence, but not much.
And I got to segue from that for a moment on the stories. You know, this story is only the third time I've told it, actually the second time. Okay? So the thing is, how many times did you guys relate to some things in that story? Did you relate to some of the things in the story?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. And the balance issue about little things in life that really throw us off, those are called the payoffs. You're kind of thinking about that stuff. I want to segue from the silence, because in our stories, if we're not having those payoffs in the stories, the same thing's going to happen. They're going to switch stations. Because think about going to the radio. I go, when I'm driving down the road, sometimes I get bored of something I'm listening to, so I turn on the radio. And I go, let me listen to there. In 15 seconds, if I don't like what I'm hearing, I change the channel. Think about that in an audience. You understand the difference? Is that if you don't have the payoffs, if you get consistent payoffs, they go, wow, that was cool. So they listen, they coast for a while, and they're looking and waiting for the next payoff, because they're trusting you now to give them that. That's why the stories are important. Okay?
Now, I have a question. So you have to you spelled out the payoff there.
Well, for you guys right now.
Right, but
You
did
know,
we, no, not here, at this.
Out there,
Out
you know, and
there,
this
you
was
spelled it
workshop
out.
center.
What's your antibiotic?
This was geared towards the workshop setting. It's different than a keynote, even though they called it a keynote. It was a hybrid thing. And so I related it to balance because that was the theme. I wanted them to get there because then I segued into my balance exercise. I had 3 exercises I did with them as a group. It all had to do using Aiki principles in, emotion and balance. Okay?
I need to go to your keynote.
Yeah, so it was perfect, call it the grace of God, but also the grace of practice that makes it work.
And look back
So the
now.
grace of God works through the grace of practice.
Yeah. If you look back, it's like Mecklen's been with us the longest. Next is Lucy. Next is you, obviously. But intermixed amongst that is Dave Scadam, Peter Fromenti, Carlos Sutter, and it's like go onto the YouTube website, look at a couple of Carlos talks, look at a couple of Peter's talks, look at a couple of Dave Scadam's talks. Because those 3 people you will see again in the next couple of months. They're in Toastmasters, they're always moving in and out of Toastmasters. And see, I'm being mean, and I'm being mean for a purpose. Have they changed as much as you have? You guys are sticking with it. You're learning what we're saying. You're taking to heart what we're teaching. And if I can really key in on one crucial thing, it's what you're going to do today. This is the most important thing you're going to learn. And if you learn this, you will make tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars in the next decade. And I didn't know how crucial it was for probably 10 years. Because I didn't believe them. I've been public speaking since the very early 80s. Very early 80s. And all during the 80s, I didn't take to heart this lesson today.
Storytelling.
Yep, until the 90s. Because I thought it was all about me. I thought they were there to see me. I thought they were there to hear me. I thought they were there to learn from me. So I, lean not unto your own understanding. And so I did. I leaned onto mine. And that's dumb. So I understand if you want to learn and lean onto your own beliefs and think that Tom and I are nuts, I totally understand that because I did the same thing. I did the same thing.
So what Joe's saying, you've heard this before, is know then the difference between a commodity speaker and a personality speaker. And what are we leaning towards?
Personality.
Absolutely. Yeah. I gave that hybrid last weekend because it was more personality than anything because hardly anybody, there's 1 in a million who gives workshops like mine that people love and they go, cool, it works. And you know what I'm saying? So it is my personality. Mm-hmm. So when you start doing Tom Tursich, because he rehashes principles, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And he belts them out, man.
And he knows them, and he's very,
He's good.
He's an excellent commodity speaker.
Of all the public speakers in the Valley today, Tom Tursich is probably the best. I don't know anybody else in today's market, in the Gallatin Valley, that's better than Tom Tursich. Not even me.
And if you hear him once, rock star. If you hear him like 5 times, you're
Boring.
like the 3-banded wedding ring. I could tell that story on my own.
Right.
It's a great story, but it's it's always the same. It's just like mixed up differently.
Yeah.
Which is good to know for us because it means
What
we're
I want to
leaders.
remind you is that your stories will be the same.
Yeah.
Okay, but you're mixing them up, and you're not being a teacher in terms of saying, okay, let's look at the 5 principles of, being a successful whatever. You know what I'm saying? And then you get it done.
But what separates the proverbial wheat from the chaff is I still can tell stories from the 80s. I can still tell stories from the 90s. If I feel they're appropriate, I will. But the best of the best of the best commodity speakers use stuff that is pertinent, close-knit to their life within a couple of years. And it shows their vulnerability, it shows their humanity, and it shows their chutzpah, I think is the best way to put it.
Mhm.
That is the word, chutzpah.
Yeah, because it's like, me and Tom were talking this week about it. It's like, you know, I am serious that if I have a hold of your rope and you're on belay with me holding that rope, I will go over the cliff with you before I let go of the rope. It's guaranteed. You know, it's gonna hurt, but it's gonna hurt more for you, doesn't it come on top of you? But it's that immediacy of knowing that, yeah, if Joe has my rope, he's got me. He's there. And that's the best part of a commodity speaker is people feel that closeness, that intimacy of they know you as a person. Now the trick is the stories.
This trick is what?
It's the stories.
Are you talking about a commodity speaker or a personality speaker?
Personality, because it's
Oh,
like
okay.
composition. How well, you know, it's like, my
So
joke,
commodity-
Question though.
Commodity
Let me-
don't share the personal
let me
stories.
show, let me-
Personality
let me get
do.
into
How about
this.
the personal story? I
Ready?
wanna
I'm
ask
confused.
the question, because it'll depend on how I ship my story. Do you have to tell them the message, or do you just let them get the message?
Let them get the message.
So you don't have to say,
Yeah.
so you chose to say it for us today, you know, it has 1 minute, change your life.
Who's got the mic? Let me see the mic real quick. No, never mind, it's on. It's recording, right?
Yeah.
Go, hit stop it and start it again.